People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for joining me each and every time. Thank you very much for everybody who's tuned back in. One love to everybody who's done such. Obviously, please make sure you're hitting the like buttons. Please make sure you're checking out the pin message, because I'm going to go live on Twitch shortly after this. You know, I'm going to be doing Football Manager content, I believe 4:30. Then obviously we'll speak from, I think, 3 p.m. initially about what's happened generally in the transfer market. So yeah, I hope everyone's well and safe. Make sure you're hitting the like buttons. Hope everyone's well and safe, got your physical health, mental health, and all of that good stuff. Hope you're all making progress this week and them things there. Good morning to those of you in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. Now, this is a live stream I've wanted to do for a hot second. You know, I've always said I'll reserve my opinions until the end of the window, because it's neither here nor there. Now I can only deal with the facts. If you want to bring people in January, do what you need to do. But I can only deal with the facts. From now till January, this is the playing squad. Decisions have been made, and we're here in it. So obviously, I'm going to offer my opinions on the transfer market shortly. I believe an interview's come out in relation to VINAI. I say interview, I think he's just given a statement of some sort. So we'll cover that and anything else. But before I do any of that, as I said, hit the like button. You know, if 100 people here within the first couple of minutes, that's the target. So yeah, let me see what you lot are saying, man. Raz is just spamming up the thing with hella stuff. But big up DG, I'm at work, but make sure you all hit the like button. K, I appreciate that. I don't know why everyone is on this Sam Johnson train. Just curious, did he win Player of the Year or something at his club? BISSOUMA had one season, and after he tackles like XHAKA, no end product. I don't know who he was screaming for Sam Johnson, but fair enough, bro. Okay, you've also said too many of our players are afraid to progress the ball because they don't have the ability. I'm not an Arteta fan, but I see what he's trying to do. Get players who are confident in their abilities. Fair play. Four out of 10 summer window. The players we have brought don't improve the level of the squad. Buying a young player is all good when your existing players like Saka want to leave. Then what happens? Hope and pray hype. 4 out of 10 is a bit harsh, I'd say. I'd say a cool 6, says Tino. Is Ben White better than David Luiz? Can we rely on Smith Rowe and Saka to produce stats? AM is not here for any optimism today, man. Arsenal are banking on a lot of stuff to happen. Miracles, and we never got no miracles. Ben White is nowhere near David Luiz right now. Hit the like button, everyone. Show DG the love he deserves. Strasbourg, Steve, I appreciate that. Arsenal are in the market of hope and pray. You lot, come on, man. Let's have a bit of optimism, guys. But I appreciate everyone's opinions, man. Raz has said 5. We spent so much money, and I really can't get excited. Lokonga, the only one I see coming good. That's deep, man. I got faith in all of them, really. But for me, I think Lokonga will do his thing. I think Ben White will do his thing. I hope Odegaard does his thing. Away from that, I actually want Ramsdale to do very well, man. Away from that, you know, I like Tavares, but again, the jury's out. The jury is out. I'm not really feeling the right back hype. And now that we've got a right back, cool, but I'm not feeling everyone can play everywhere. You know, again, if people are able to lock down one role at this club, like you're a winger, you're a midfielder or whatever, and then you can fill in other positions, that's fair play. But it always feels like at this club, certain positions, certain individuals haven't locked down the road that's got them to the point of being a professional footballer. So if you can't master left back, generally speaking, you can't be going right wing and right back and all of these things. There's a lot of square pegs in round holes and whatnot. Only Arsenal can be top spenders, then prop up the table and still have Deadwood on the books. That's harsh, man. That's harsh. That's harsh. Interesting opinions, people. Again, I'm gonna offer mine shortly. I just need to make sure I've got everything, because there was an interesting point that I saw in a tweet that I need to bust you guys on and whatnot. Because again, we can only deal with what we evidently see. So that's that. Obviously, context is key, but yeah, man. Do you have a Christian, listen, you're asking me some funny man questions there, so I'm just gonna block you. My private life is of no concern to YouTube. You're asking some intrusive questions. Up to you, man. But anyways, let's quickly speak about the window. I say quickly. There's not gonna be no quickly. Like I said, people, I'd reserve all my extended thoughts and everything until the windows close, people. So with that being said, I need to make some timestamps. What minute are we at? 6 minutes in. Yeah, the window's shut, people. You know, the window's shut. People have short memories and fast desires. Generally, that is true. So yeah, man. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on in that regards. But yeah, it's time to review what's going on, really and truly. It's time to speak about what the market now. Now, on one hand, I feel a sense of great underwhelmingness because fundamentally, I hear what we're doing. We need players of tomorrow. We need young players with resale value that can grow. I hear that. I agree with that. I think these signings, we might not see within 1 to 3 years the fruits of these signings, but this might be a window in hindsight if Arsenal was to turn it around where we say, cool, these guys develop. I hear what we're doing in a sense of, you know, we've got some young players to tie in. They've all got potential. My question to Arteta is, has he shown, he needs to show me he can develop these young players. So I hear what we're doing. But at the same time, you know, obviously Ramsdale might come good and be a first choice keeper potentially for England and Arsenal, in which 30 million looks like peanuts. Same trailer thought with Ben White. You know, they all have longevity. All the players, they're not. No one's over 23 at the time of signing for Arsenal. You know, I like Ben White. Same thing I'm saying with Ramsdale could apply to him. Same with everyone you see there behind me. I like the mandate. They're all young. They tie in. Indirectly, the spine of the team's been addressed. You know, you've got Tavares to complement the side if anything happens to Tierney primarily. Ramsdale, you've got a decent keeper. Hopefully he can grow. Lokonga's got scope to grow and be a midfield option. I still think generally we're too light in midfield, but that's not on Lokonga. You know, I like bringing in TT as well. You know, we've got a right back. So for me, to know that we have a decent defensive back five now, because again, he wanted to keep Leno. He wanted to bring Ramsdale. He got his first choice target. Tierney is a great player, as you lot know. Obviously, on the right hand side, you've got a right back, you've got Ben White, you've got Gabriel now. Make it happen. You've got Lokonga, you've betted on XHAKA. So for me, the two men in the middle and the two men in the middle in midfield, before I talk about the 10 and the back five, including the keeper, I need to see a well-engined unit, because now that you've got the players, I need to see what our midfield is about. I need to see what our defense is about. I need to see an upgrade again, you know. And obviously get the best out of the attackers. You wanted your first choice, you know, he got his first choice guy in Odegaard. That's who he wanted. He got his first choice in Ramsdale and Ben White, you know, so he's got to show something. You know, again, it goes two ways, this market. We either think, you know, like with Ben White, you either think 50 million price well spent on a guy that can be here for a significant period of time, or we say, bloody hell, one season in the Prem, 50 mil, you got conned. Same trailer thought with Ramsdale, same potentially with Odegaard and things. So we either look at this window as one of promise or one where we don't know where we're going and it's underwhelmingness. As much as I like the fact that young players have been brought in, there's resale value, they tie into the squad and all of these things, you need players for now, innit? You need players for now. And that doesn't mean I'm saying you need to sign world-class players, which we can't, and challenge for the league and things. You need players for now. Lokonga's a player for tomorrow. Who's in the midfield now? Because something happens to XHAKA, again, it's gone down the toilet again in midfield, sort of thing. So, again, I think out of all of them signings, I only look at Ben White and Odegaard. Obviously, I rate Lokonga, but Ben White and Odegaard, probably at the time, the only ones probably expected to immediately be first choice. Obviously, life has come at Lokonga fast. Things can happen very quickly for all of them. But yeah, I like the foundation's been set. But I think there is a degree of underwhelmingness. I think for me, mainly with midfield, central midfield, I think we buckled the chance of being extremely brave and really fixing things up. But it is what it is. Last night, I was up doing notes and things like that for this, people. You know me, I love a Google sheet. So when we look at it, I don't think Arteta can complain. He's had a great window. He has got all his first choice targets, with the exception of someone like Lokonga, because he said the analytical team referred that. But you've got a decent option. You've got Tavares. You've got Lokonga there. You want, you know, crucially, when you look at Ben White for 50, Odegaard for 30, Ramsdale for 30, these are guys that you wanted. They should form part of the squad. You know, I mean, the spine of the team. So you got what you wanted there. You know, that's 110 million, forgive me if I'm wrong, on players that you wanted. Whether they're worth it or not, it's another case. But if the manager is saying he wants that, then go and do something. As much as I get at the Kroenkes, isn't this our highest spending transfer window in a hot minute? So it's all firmly on Arteta and Edu, really, on the technical front. You know, you've got a right back now. You've bigged him up and his abilities. Make sure that back five unit looks 30. So I can't really complain. I think we've, I wanted this. I wanted two centre mids, but I wanted a centre mid. You got one. I wanted a backup left back. You got one. We needed a keeper. You got one. You got a creative man. You got one. You got a centre back. You got one. Whether I wanted these names necessarily is another thing, but end of the day, areas have been addressed. And again, we need to remember none of the players we've signed are above the age of 23. And yesterday we went through when we was on the live stream. Big up to you that were there. We was going to how many career appearances. You're seeing 60, 70 appearances for half of these players max, with the exception of someone like Ramsdale. And if it's not for a club overall, it's that similar appearance in the top flight. So they are going to make a lot of mistakes. They are gonna, that whole defense. If Ben White, TT's thrown in there, Gabriel, Tierney, and obviously Ramsdale, they're going to make mistakes, but it's about building blocks and what they're going to do in the future. So I think from a managerial point of view, as a fan, looking at it naively, Arteta can't really cry about nothing really and truly, because he's been given everything he's wanted. He's been given everything he's wanted. He's grabbed Smith, Smith Rowe signed a new deal, as did Tierney, Balogun, and, Granit Xhaka is not signing a new deal without him. And whatnot. I don't know who's a toxic fan base. I mean, we're having an opinion, Theo. Please, I don't know why early in the morning you're shouting. So please, you just got to keep it moving. But he's had the window. He wanted to keep Xhaka. You didn't want to upgrade on Xhaka anyways. You wanted Xhaka to be part of it. So I have to believe you believe Xhaka and Partey primarily is your midfield pivot. Obviously, shout out to Lokonga. You've got Smith Rowe and Odegaard now, who can play as eights and on the 10s and on the flanks. So show me from a coaching perspective how we start attacking. Because you can't just sign a defender and think we're going to improve defensively. Look how naive our approach to defending is. TT gets slapped at right back. He's going to look a shambles currently. Same goes with Ben White against Brentford. Gabriel has been through the same thing. So show me a unit. Show me how we're playing out from the back with Ramsdale. Show me communication. Show me how the midfield ties into the defense. How the defense and midfield tie into the strikers. Because we're night for goals. You've signed a creative man to to help us with Odegaard now and to share the burden with Smith Rowe. Show me creativity, because they've both been on the field and we've lacked. A lot of it is down to the coaching standard. I wanted a number 8, the hours and things like that, but the club probably look at him as a 10. So again, they were never probably going to go for Hour because they got Odegaard, and you hear that us and a lot of teams didn't reply to anybody. Didn't reply to Leon offering him. So again, it was just fanfare really and truly. For me, this is the eggs Arteta is laying in his basket, really. In terms of outgoings, Arsenal have been quite disappointing generally in terms of getting fees. Only Martinez and Joe Willock off the top of my head have got some significant fees. Please make sure we're hitting the like button and we're following on Twitch and things like that. I like the young players that have been signed, but I just feel sorry for them because they're not, they're all going to have to hit the ground running. There's not really a facility for them to make mistakes. And I can't really bet on them to make us a more consistent team. They're all learning individually. Arteta needs to do that because for me, again, I don't really believe in Arteta's ability at this moment in time to coach young players. If he stays, I hope I'm wrong, but there's too much bewildering things with Saliba, with Guendouzi, with what's going on with Smith Rowe at the long term, with Saka, with Martinelli, with Ben White, with Gabriel, how he dropped him last season. I'm not really, with Maitland-Niles, with half of these guys, I don't really have much faith. And I hope he can prove me wrong, but I don't. So for me, I'm having question marks over what you're doing with the young players already. We've signed a bag of other young players. And this is where I need to see urgency from Arteta because, like I said, this can go two ways. We can either look back at this as an underwhelming window or one that might be underwhelming now, but in the future, these signings can pay off. Whether Arteta is here to see these players reach full level is what it is. And for me, as much as these players are for the future, you need players for now. You need to get 3 points on the weekend. We haven't got 3 points. You still need to remain competitive. If you get relegated, which I don't think is going to happen, or have an underwhelming season, I hear what you're saying about the future, but it's still no excuse. In terms of outgoings, obviously, Joe Willock's gone for 25 million. Now, I'm disappointed, not necessarily that Joe Willock's gone, but for me, I would have thought, all right, cool, Joe Willock's gone. It looked like El Nene still could go because the Turkish window is still open. A couple of midfielders departed. I would have thought, cool. If he's letting Joe go, that must mean we're bringing in 2 8s, but it didn't happen. Obviously, Guendouzi, we have made some money on loan fees. We've got little pennies on loan fees. We've got to be fair to the club. The market is a madness. But, Joe Willock's gone. Guendouzi, I don't know what the loan fee is. Some people say it's 850,000. Certain people say it's 3 million euros. Obviously, if certain variables are hit, he could obviously move for 9 to 12 million, as reported on various things, on a permanent to Marseille. Marseille have hidden no secret of wanting to negotiate for Saliba on a permanent offer, but for right now, it's unclear what we got. But we probably did get a sort of loan fee, maybe similar to what Saint Etienne paid us or Nice. Florentina, loan fee again of a million, just over £1 million for Torreira, and he's got a buy clause, an option of 15 million. So pessimistically, if things go wrong, if for whatever reason Guendouzi's not taken, permanently by Marseille, obviously Torreira's returning next year potentially. You've got Nelson by that trailer thought who signed a new deal, but his future would still be speculated. A couple of these guys that have gone out on loan, Bellerin as well, who I haven't got here. Obviously, Bellerin's freeing up the wage structure as well. He's taking a pay cut, but you'd imagine Bellerin, Torreira, and Nelson, if they don't excel in Holland, Spain, and Italy, respectively, we're going to have to flog them. So you add that in, we're probably going to have to sign a midfielder from January till next summer. In my opinion, I think we're going to need to sign a keeper. I don't think Leno's staying past this year, and it's down to Ramsdale if he wants to be second choice or above. So I hope the club have these things in mind. Obviously, you shouldn't have signed Willian in the first place. So I'm not necessarily going to praise you for getting rid, but 20 million saved in wages potentially is a good look. Renisson's probably got a loan fee. And again, you've paid for your sins. 2 stupid decisions. End of the day, bad moves happen. I can't forgive you. I can't praise you for it, but they're off the wage structure. Hopefully Nelson can either prove himself worthy of returning to Arsenal and challenging for a spot, or obviously being sold on. We hope it stands out. We're hoping all the players on loan have to stand out as well, people. So that's the outgoings. And like I said, the profile for the young players, no one's above the age of 23 at the time of signing for the club, I believe. Positives, like I said, good long-term signings depending on our ability to improve them, that should say. We did, in theory, maybe not to the standard or the scale, but we did improve or better yet, address the areas we needed. For me, no excuses for Arteta, because do I think Ben White, Ramsdale, Odegaard, all these guys are going to make you top 4 Europe or whatever? But you're betting on them. In the same way you're throwing individuals throughout these 3 games, you're making certain bewildering decisions on the pitch. You have to stand by them because you believe in every 25 man in that squad now. You believe when their time comes, they can be thrown in. You believe the same of these players. I hear they're young, they're going to make mistakes and whatever, but I just see a manager getting his targets, no excuses. We did get some wages off the wage bill, let's be real, even the ones that have gone on loan. In theory, the spine of the team has been addressed, and there could be some long-term, benefits in that. Hopefully these players obviously can reach their full potential. The negatives for me personally, you've still got Bellerin, Torreira, Guendouzi on the loans, and it's not been addressed, and their futures are all going to be speculative a year from now. I hope they all excel so they can be bought from their parent club bought from their parent clubs to their loan clubs currently or elsewhere, but I don't know. I personally think we buckled the chance to revamp the midfield. I think Arteta was scared and he betted on XHAKA. You didn't really want XHAKA to go to Roma. I would have thought this was a time to revamp the midfield, go with your Lokonga when time been, but find a good partner for Partey. So now I'm sitting there and saying, cool, when XHAKA and Partey are fit and they're playing together, make sure it works, because you've got the spine of the team addressed. You're telling me that's your midfield. You're telling me Smith Rowe or Odegaard in the 10 is good enough for you, and you're telling me you're happy with your attackers. Again, show me something, because I think that's the one thing I'm annoyed about. I think on the best of days, whether XHAKA was staying or going, we needed to upgrade. So I think we pussied out of that, if I'm being honest with you. XHAKA, Leno, Lacazette, their futures are far from resolved. I know XHAKA signed a new deal, but every couple of months, you know what happens with him. Leno, he wanted to leave. All of a sudden, something happened. You've got Lacazette. You've also got Kolasinac. Now, to be fair to the club, Kolasinac's demands to Fenerbahce, wages and signing on fees and whatnot, messed up his chance there. The club did accept a fee for Eddie Nketiah. He failed to agree personal terms with Crystal Palace. So maybe we could have been a bit more proactive at the start rather than doing this at the end of the window, but they did try to move them on, but they still are negatives. Kolasinac is on big P's and you're going to have to use them. And in hindsight, one has to wonder, there must have never been a move then really that close, because say he got injured, there would have been issues there. 20 million save. What about past earnings? Well, he's earned a lot more. Like I said, the club have made a mistake with Willian. They have to hold their L. They're moving absolute stupid, But what do you want me to say? I can't go back in time. They hold their L's. Like I said, I'm not going to praise you for addressing a mistake, but it could be 20 million saved. They hold the L. Like, what are we going to do? Keep crying about the past? We recognize it. We hold them accountable. But fundamentally, we've got to move on and get past it now, fella. There's 500 odd of you locked in. There's still only 136 likes. You know, there's going to be no success for Arsenal. You're going to have high unexpected bills if you do not hit that like button. One love to everybody who's decent enough to hit that like button. May you win the lottery and things. Let's get to 300 at the very least, people. You are acting up. But yeah, I don't know what you want me to do with that, my guy. You know, again, I hear that. I agree with that. It's frustrating. Williams shouldn't have been here in the first place. But end of the day, it's happened now. They've made a mistake. They've patterned it really. Or shout out to William because he's patterned it really and truly. And as much as I have admiration for the young players and all of this sort of stuff, when I look at it cynically, end of the day, we're eighth. You know, you know me, I sit here and I talk about young players each day of the week, every day of the week and whatnot. You know, I love to see young players progress and do all of these things. But fundamentally, there's no point talking about these players being able to develop and us being able to do things in a few years if you can't get 3 points at the weekend. Most fans are not going to care about that. The club can't afford to care about that. We finished eighth. And to sit there and say, apart from really Ben White and Odegaard, I don't really see who's going to make an immediate impact. I'm not sure. I think if a lot of other clubs, if they finish eighth, they might still do the youngster thing, but there's going to be 1-2 signings that can make things happen. Again, it's down to Arteta, and I hope you have a plan. You know Ramsdale's, Ben White, Ramsdale, Odegaard, all these guys. I hope you know their weaknesses and how to address them, and I hope fundamentally you know what system you're going to employ. Because right now, whatever system he puts out there, no one's looking good. You know, nobody's looking good because the system through their own things, but the system, like I said, the defensive system is frail. You know, the defensive system's frail. So I can't expect a defender to thrive. I can't see anything from a coaching perspective that breeds creativity. So how can I expect Odegaard to get 10 goals, 10 assists, or do anything like that? It's a bit of an absolute madness. As I said, you know, as much as I have admiration for that, we've spent a lot of money and I can't see a direct improvement to help us for now. Potentials for tomorrow. We need 3 points today. You know, I don't care. Listen, you know me, I just said it. I love young footballers, but I don't care about a lot of things if you don't put in a decent showing against Norwich or against Brighton or against Chelsea, Spurs or whatever in the games to come. You know, we can't. And Arteta, you might not be here to see the fruits of these labours, you know, because a lot of them are early 23s. So in the next 18 months to 2-3 years, they're coming into their own and really developing. You might not be here for such. So it's a bit of a madness. And when I look at my additional thoughts, no excuses for Arteta. You know, he has spent a lot and he's got, you know, he's got his first, I don't know why that says search, but he's got his first choice targets. Like, he's got his first choice targets. We hear you wanted Ramsdale. We hear you wanted Ben White. We hear Odegaard's your first choice target. So make things happen, innit? It's as simple as that. And when I ask myself the simple question, do we look stronger than last year? In terms of depth, potentially, in terms of a starting 11, nothing's changed clearly. Is the team good enough to achieve what our goals should have been for this season, which is obviously to finish higher than 8th, to aspire for top 4, to hope for Europe of some capacity? I don't think it necessarily is. And with the amount of young players you've brought in, you have to factor in the mistakes, the need to gel, the need to all of these things. So it makes me wonder, what is Arsenal's actual goals? Not what us as fans think. What are the club's collective goals for the season? You know, you've brought a lot of young players in. You know, you need to give them time to develop this, show consistency, improve with the collective, improve individually. You know, you've brought a lot of those players in. Some are more experienced than others, you know, TT, Odegaard, Ben White, they're young, but they have experience. They have foundations to fall upon. You know, a lot of these guys, when you look at them, they've got foundations. They've got 40 to 60, 70 odd appearances. So it's not that much experience, but it's something to build upon. But still, they're learning. They're naive. So I have to wonder, what is the actual goals for this team? Then it can't have been actual getting Europe. It can't be. It could. I think the minimum is, can we lay some foundations? And obviously with what we've been talking about. So it does make me wonder, what are the actual plans for the team? Like, collectively within the team, what is our plans for the season? Because it's surely not Europe. And like I said, we probably won't know we won't probably know how good this window's been a year or 3 years from now, how good it's been. I like the profile who we've signed, but it's about the club realizing the potential. And such is life, man. You know, we started off the summer, Aouar, Camavinga, Neves, Martinez, Laturo, that is, Isaac, Madison rumours. Felt like a year ago, man. XHAKA leaving. It felt like there was a lot. You know, and again, made some money via loan fees, underwhelming with our business in general. So I think when I remove it from emotion, I'm torn between, it's probably a 5 out of 10 for me. You know, my first thought is to go to a 4, just because I don't think there's enough immediate impact or improvement. I don't quite think it's a 6. You know, again, I praise the club for moving people on, but Willian and these guys shouldn't have been here in the first place and whatnot. Again, it could be described as good transfers. It could be described as risky and things. So I would say 5 out of 10. Only time will tell, really. Like I'll give you the pluses of you've addressed the spine, but for me, I've got no faith in the manager's abilities to coach young players. Again, I hope to be wrong, so we'll have to see what's going on. But I'd give the window a 5 out of 10 personally, man. But all that matters is for me, there's no excuses for Arteta. These are the guys that you wanted. You said judge us at the end of the window. I am judging you, and I give you a 5. I mean, it was a lot of bullish talk. I really don't see the immediate improvement of the squad. And for me, it's mainly the midfield. You haven't addressed that midfield. You're not going to get anything out of Partey to a certain point unless he's with Lokonga. Lokonga and Partey. Lokonga and Partey, let's be real, it's not good enough as a midfield partnership long term for 38 games, really. For all the bullish talk about judges at the end of the window, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It's like, I can't expect anything different, you know. So I give it a 5. I think a 6 is too strong. On reflection, a 4 is too little. Give them a 5, sorry. So it is what it is. What are you lot saying, though, man? What are you lot saying? VINAI said something. We'll get into what VINAI has or hasn't allegedly said soon, people. But I want to see what you lot are saying. Hit the like button if you haven't, people. Or yeah, man, you lot doing the guy dirty, and you lot have been fantastic for me these last few days. 203 likes, still over 500 people locked in, not supporting the thing. DG, I think you've taken a step back to go forward. Between now and December will be a test, and this is what. Listen, if you have again this with these young players, like I said, you need to know their weaknesses. I don't really care about Ramsdale's strengths. He should have strengths. His weaknesses, because how can players prove if you don't improve weaknesses? What is he good at? What does he need improvement at? Get that in there. Lokonga, this everyone that you see behind me, TT, Odegaard, Ben White, Tavares, Lokonga, Ramsdale, it's that. How do you take them into the players of tomorrow? You know, TT, how do you make him a better right back? How do you get us to show some of that Real Madrid quality in Odegaard that got him bought there at 16? Ben White's had a season in the Prem. How do we show why he was allegedly being scouted by people and Southgate called him up? Lokonga on the cusp of the Belgian team being called up. How do we show he's one of the next Belgium sort of young G's? Tavares, how do we make you a competent player? You know, and how do we not only improve them technically and tactically, how do we promote leadership? How do we, you know, we always talk about bad habits at Arsenal. How do we install some good habits in these players? So again, I hear that taking a step back to take a step forward, but it's only as good as the mandate. You know, you get the vibe that we just sign these players and expect them to work it out rather than how they all source a piece of a puzzle. And again, for me, communication. And you need to promote these guys to be leaders. You have seen in their own little ways, they're all leaders. They're all brave young players and they all have my support. But it either looks like we've made we've made some shrewd additions that could pay off and we've planted some crops and the tree is going to grow into a madness, or we've just planted a tree, told you it's going to be the craziest mango tree and just run off on the back road and never come back. So time will tell. You're only as good as the gaffer, you know. I hope and for me, like I said, if these are your first choice targets, you've got no excuse. I can't sit here and keep saying Arsenal underinvesting this, that, and the other if you've got your first choice targets, people. We know them. Let's be real. People hide behind that thing of Arsenal spent the most money, which we have, but our thing is different. You know, we've spent 100 odd million or close to 200 with several players. We ain't done the City thing 100 odd on just Grealish, you know, but at the end of the day, Arteta has to live with this. He's been given every signing he wanted. You know, we have spent. Even though I wouldn't necessarily call this backing because there's no immediate players that I think, yeah, you're going to make us stronger today in the 30 odd games that we have left. I hear what we're saying with 2 years from now, a year from now, this guy, that guy, resale value. I hear it. I agree with it. But today we spent 156.8 million. No one directly improves that. And for me, considering what happened to you in November, considering you must have known how the season was going to start, you lot see these players and know they're not good enough. You're telling me you're standing behind them because at the end of the day, regardless of the reason, if results are not correlating and you're not showing a system, which you haven't even shown a system, if you show a system for these young players and we can say, all right, cool, we see what you're doing, fair enough. But you're not going to see what Ramsdale looks like in a year or so. You know, many fans want you gone, Arteta. So I need to see a bit of clarity. But at the end of the day, we spent 156.8 million. So, boy, there's absolutely no excuses for me not to see a system, not to be more competitive, not to see more consistency, not to make these stupid defensive errors. That's one thing I want to see cut out. better communication. But signing people is just half the job. We hear you lot, Odegaard was your first choice target. We hear you scouted Ramsdale and all these things. So if you got your first choice targets, you should do half decent in it, in theory. So there's absolutely no excuses for me. There's absolutely no excuses. No underinvestment, just bad purchases. I don't think anyone's a bad purchase, really. I don't think there's a single signing I look at and I think you're a bad player. It's just for me, the manager now, and the need to we don't need to instantly be a title winning side. I would love it, but there's certain competencies I don't see in that team. I don't know what I'm getting day in, day out. I need to see a unit. Because, you know, what were we doing in preseason? If we were still losing these games, but I could look and say, all right, cool, we're a bit switched on. You know, we're not allowing someone like Lukaku into space. We're talking correctly. All the things we've seen in these last 3 games, if they weren't there or minimized, and I could see a system, I could say, all right, cool. I see where Odegaard might improve that, or Ben White might do this, or Ramsdale might do that. Suddenly, we're signing these young players. They're going to, individually, they've got a lot to improve at. Collectively, the squad's a mess, much less what we're doing tactically. So again, you've got the tools, but a tradesman is only as good as his ability to get good things out of them tools, really and truly. You know, if I give you a paintbrush and I give Van Gogh a paintbrush, someone's going to do a crazy painting, someone's going to do some bullshit. So again, you've been given stuff, and I think Arteta does sound like a bit of a spoiled kid at times when he cries, "Woe is me." So you've got what you needed to do. I'm a bit more optimistic than some people, but I'm not really too optimistic, and I'm not pessimistic at all. I just don't have faith in Arteta's coaching at this moment in time. Simple as that. Hopefully, I can be proven wrong. None of these guys are bad players, but as you know, at Arsenal, guys are brought in, they're hung out to dry, and all of these sort of things. So I hope it's positive, man. But like I said, I give the market a 5 out of 10. I was thinking a 4 because for me, it's a bit. For me, the main points, as I said, I don't think we've been brave enough in midfield. And again, Arteta did a lot of talk about being ruthless and all of this. Kolasinac is still here. Still unclear as to what's happened with Leno. You know Bellerin's left, but you never got the vibe Arsenal wanted to move on Bellerin. It's he wanted to leave. I don't see ruthlessness. You know, if you was ruthless, you could have all the admiration for XHAKA in the world, but you can see that that's not the most strongest of midfield foundations in the role he plays. You do these things, and then we're gonna be surprised. If we go and look back at what some of the things he said months ago, people, we don't need to read out that one because this was at the start. But on the transfer business so far at the time, he said, well, we identified what we wanted to do and how we can strengthen our team short, medium, and long term. Medium and long term, that's obviously with these young players, but who's been brought in to help us in the short? There's not a single player that can help us in the short term. Obviously, if people are thrown in, like you're seeing with Lokonga and these sort of things, you know, yeah, they can help us in the short term, but they're medium to long term. So what are you doing in the shorts? You know, again, what you do in the short term impacts these players. What you're doing with the Aubameyangs and Xhakas and all these Lacazettes, they impact these players, you know. So I don't really know what we've done in the short term that's going to help us just damn right look like a competent side. You know, and he said what we needed in the short, medium, and long term, and what we needed to achieve that. We defined the profile of player that suits the model and that we have at the moment at the club that can sustain our financial position, and we've made 3 improvements in relation to that. That was at the time. Fair enough. They tie into what you want, you know, because your first choice targets, you're telling me this is good enough to achieve whatever goals you have. Edu, I ain't heard nothing from you, but you're the technical director. This is your legacy. You're telling me these players are good enough to help us do what we need to do. Fair play. You know, scrolling all the way down, on the number of signings that would make him happy, he said that a team puts in place what we've been working on and the spirit that they have and the energy that they've been training with and in games more consistently. Again, not to speak about the Spurs game. This was around Joe Willock, people, you know. And now we get down to the nitty gritty and all of these sort of things, people, where I'm actually on to him about. At the time, he was asked, is the market underwhelming? He said, it's been really busy, and you've just named a few names, but that tells you as well how much we had to do from a position that we started the window. We are talking about probably the most difficult transfer market in this industry over the last few years, for sure, and we are trying to adapt. Everyone's had the same problem. Everyone's known for a year now what they're dealing with. Certain clubs have come out the window with some decent bid. Look at West Ham. Other things. Obviously, PSG is a mad example, but you've got PSG, so it's you make excuses or you make things happen, man. It is what it is. You know, he said the club, the owner, and myself, we all have the same interest, which is to make the team much stronger, and we know that we still have things to do to get what we wanted. Obviously, in hindsight, we've seen what's happened here, people. And if he still has time to achieve it, You know, I'm not going to read that because it's been and come, it's been and gone. But he said, you know what, it is, but it takes time, and there are all different time, and there are all the time different parties and different interests there to get deals done. For sure, we are trying to do what we can, and as important as that is, to make sure that the squad is healthy and we have stability within that squad, which is something that we certainly missed last year after December. I mean, what stability? God forbid XHAKA Partey gets some long-term injuries, even Lokonga, you're in trouble in the middle of the park. So I don't know what's going on. For me, the main thing is not addressing the midfield, and you still had a little rumblings towards the end of the season. For me as well, for all the talk about ruthlessness, as I said, you didn't even, half these guys, you didn't get the vibe that the club are pushing out Kolasinac. He fancies going to Kolasinac. Bellerin fancies going to Betis for whatever reason. You know, David Luiz wanted to keep it moving. You never get the vibe that we're making these decisions. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, as my homie Raz has said. It is what it is in that regard. You know, there's no point talking about traditional rivals. What else did we go on to say, people? As you lot can see, man. As you lot can see, these are the things that he said. He said, you know, on players departing, he said, I think everything is related to who we bring in, who is out, our capacity to hold foreign players in the squad. There are a lot of question marks that still need to be, that are still all pretty open. And then there was something among this people, you know, you go back to what he said as well. If we look at here, this is not year one. I think a project has phases, and I'm telling you, we are in a much better position today to be where we want to be very soon. If we do what we have to do, but we have to be ruthless. We cannot be crying and stuck on what we don't have. We have to see what we have and maximize it to get what we want. You can't cry about what you don't have. But in the same logic, he cries about not being able to do business. So again, you can't cry. You need to work with what you have. Based on what I've seen from pre-season, let alone the 3 games, are we working with what we have to the best potential? Probably not. You know, again, maximize. What individual players been maximized? What collective systems been maximized? You haven't maximized the young players at any point, you know. So how can I have faith that you're going to do it? Because you know, you could even throw Balogun in there as well now, because Balogun was nowhere among the first team like that, you know. And again, I know it's easier said than done, but I can only go off what people are saying. I'm hearing ruthless chat. I'm not seeing ruthless decisions, because we're still here bewildered, you know. XHAKA, you gave him a new deal. We still don't know where we stand. We still don't know where we're going with Leno. Kolasinac actually starting against the Premier League champions. Fair play. He went on to say, I want to share the pain that we are feeling. The fans have been incredible with the team and incredible with me since I arrived, and I have to show my appreciation first of all. I know their disappointment. We are here to give them joy, to give them moments where they can feel proud of what we do. Where we were able to do that last season, and we haven't this season. We are the ones who have to give them something to cheer about. I don't think it's time for us to demand anything. So as you lot can see here, people, you know, he said it himself, and there was even, he's lucky I can't find his comments where he said I'm cool to use what I have. I can find it. I can find it. Obviously, this is going back to the first game against Brentford. He said, well, in this first period of the transfer window, I think we've done a few things we wanted to do, and it's going to help us to get the squad in a much better place. There is still a bit of the window to go, so I'm sure things will happen either way. I'm willing to work with the players that I have at the moment and get the best out of them, and we'll see what we can do. He's spoken about maximizing, getting the best out of players. Are you going to get the best out of the players you spent 100 million from? Are you going to get the best out of players you're getting? Because if you really was trying to maximize any of these attacking players, you know, we would actually look like we can pass the ball in the final third and put the ball into the back of the net. There would be a defensive system for these defensive players. There'd be a decent defense in front of the keeper. There'd be solid formations. You know, you'd leave nothing to chance. So this whole maximizing chat, I don't know. But you've said maximizing. You've actually said you're cool to work with what you have. You've been upgraded now with signings, so it should work. And also, crucially, you've got your first choice targets. No excuses. You know, like he said, we are talking about probably the most difficult transfer window in this industry over the last few years for sure. And we are trying to adapt. The club, the owners, and myself, we all have the same interest, which is to make this team much stronger. And we know that we still have things to do to get what we want. As much as Kroenke needs to go, and he needs to go, the money we've spent, you know, as much as I think Kroenke needs to go and Edu needs to go, if I look at it, you know, these are the signings you're 100% happy with. So I have to assume the technical director and his team and them people have done they've done their jobs. You know, I have to assume that Kroenke needs to go, but we've spent a lot of money. You know, that's our highest spend in a while. The owner, to play devil's advocate, has pulled his finger out. the manager needs to show something now. Things take time. Things do take time. It might take 2 hours to cook a dish or whatever, but you're doing things in that time. You're cutting up onions. You're setting some gravy. You're doing things. Time doesn't. I don't like the just screaming time for no reason. If you've got an exam in 2 months, you should be revising. You can't just be messing around for weeks on end, and in the last couple of days you want to be serious. It does feel like there's a laxed approach, and then this unhealthy sense of security Arteta has in this role, which quite jars me. Things take time, and there are all the time different parties and different interests there to get deals done. For sure, we are trying to do what we can, and as important as that is, to make sure that the squad is healthy and we have stability within that squad, which is something that we missed last year after December. So that is important as well. Money is tight for every club at the moment. We have an ownership that is willing to invest in the team, and they want to get the team better and with bigger aims. And we are trying to find a balance, because at the same time we need to be really careful, because we need 100% a position that is sustainable and will help the club. Anything is possible, and there's still a lot of things to be done. A lot of clubs involved. You can see the things have started to move at different speed in the last week or so. So it's been a really difficult transfer window, and probably a lot of things will happen in the last week or so. So like you did see, there was a lot of movement in such people. But yeah, the excuses, there's no excuses, people. He was happy to work with what he has, allegedly. I think these are the same comments as well, people. So that's what the man himself has said. Like, I can't go on anything else. That's what the individual has said. So I can only go off the horse's mouth. If you don't say these things, then what can anyone say? Really. Someone said there's some super chats. Keep hitting the like button, people. There's no balance. What balance is there? Partey gets injured, Lokonga gets injured. It's gone down the shitter. Love for the super chat, my guy. Also, we can't attract big names and big reputations. We don't have Champions League or Europe. For all we know, we tried for big names and they turned us down. At this point, I don't want you to buy big. I want you to buy correctly. Now, if that is, top class, world class household names, fair play. If it's going to be scouts do your job, fair play. And it clearly has been a scouts do your job thing with the people behind me, which is where I go back to Arteta. You got your first choice targets. Show me something. Show me some building blocks. Because at worst, I should be able to sit here and say, Arteta has a system. He has a way of playing. I can see how an Odegaard is going to fit in. I can see how a Ben White. I don't know there's going to be a good defensive system for Ben White. You look to your left and your right, you've got clowns next to you. I don't know who's going to be in front for Ramsdale. And also, when you couple in the fact that he chops and changes, young players or development, you need stability. Not everyone can do the XHAKA thing and Smith Rowe thing and thrive in a madness. Certain people need stability. So I do hope there's balance and there's stability and everything else. Our signings look lackluster because everyone just wants big names. All big names come from silence. Until we see all these signings in the same system, no injuries, no illness, we can't judge. I don't think that's true. I think we can judge now and then. Obviously, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think, I think it goes back to even Maddison, because fans would have said Maddison over Odegaard, nothing wrong. And they would have said 70 million. But some fans would have turned around and said they overspent. We should have went for Odegaard. So you can't please. All that I need to know is that there's a system and, there's a real DNA. Everything we do in all aspects of this club has to tie in. So again, if the technical director, the owner and Arteta have done their job and they reckon this is it, let's see. For me, I'm cool with the signings we've made. It's just that there's not a singular one I look at and I think you're gonna immediately help us just simply not finish 8th. I like Ben White, I like TT, Odegaard, I think is one of them as well. But boy, I don't know, man. Seeing is believing, and only time will tell. And again, I hope Arteta knows what he's doing. Deluded with the Google sheet, more preparation than Edu and Arteta. 5 out of 10 for me. None of your signings scare me, not going to lie. None of the signings need to scare anyone. They just need to be competent, consistent, and have the confidence to be able to thrive in this team. We've gone past the point of, don't get me wrong, we all want exciting players. We just need competent players, Arsenal, we've signed keepers that can't catch, defenders who can't head, strikers who can't score, these sort of things. We need basic competencies. I feel like this is not a team built for the near future. Sadly, this team could be decent no sooner than 2024 if everyone improves at a decent pace, and that's a big if. Maybe a next manager. Big up DG. The major issue for me is why couldn't this business have been concluded before the season started? Only White and TT were involved in competition during the summer. I hear you and I agree, but there's a lot of variables us as fans we don't know. But I agree, especially when you look at the outgoings, man. If you're trying to buy young players and look for investments for the future, the transfer market glory isn't for you. You're buying unproven players, not glory signings. The man said DG's FM saved Arsenal's transfer window in the last 3 seasons. My guy. Bissouma brought and it would have been 10-10. It wouldn't though. I would have loved Bissouma, but it still wouldn't fix things because I'd sit here and I'd have to say you've got 3 similar profile players in Lokonga, Partey, and him. Now they're all irrelevant if you're playing against a low block. None of them are breaking it down. Yeah, Lokonga can play passes and shows a willingness. Partey doesn't need any introduction, and Bissouma's got more qualities, but that's not their primary job. So I have to see. At least 500 of you haven't hit the like button. You lot are doing me dirty. There's 800 odd of you locked in. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We're at 335. Can we get to 400? Shame on the individuals who haven't hit the like button. Your baby mum's going to leave you. 3 or 4, in brackets, Lokonga starters brought in and backups for left back and goalkeeper. Fans might not like all the incomings, which is understandable, but there's still players to move out. There is, but who would you say are these 3 or 4? I wouldn't say Lokonga's a starter. He wasn't brought in to be a starter, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know that, but injuries have brought him to the forefront. I don't think Tavares is a starter. Ramsdale, again, I think you should end the season being number 1, but right now you're behind Leno. I look at it, there's only probably, you said 3 of the 4, really. Ben White, probably. TT, assuming we don't do mad things, but there's still 2 other right backs there. Who knows? TT might be brought in and like Ainsley just on a mazza, So I only really, only 2 of them really, probably 3. Only the 3 to my left. You're right. You're right about that. I wouldn't say 4 though, because Lokonga one, I don't think it is. And for me, that's probably the biggest L's as well. You've not sorted out Lokonga, Leno, or Lacazette, and you've still got Callum Chambers, Cedric, Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, and TT. Now, maybe Ainsley's been told I'm going to get chances in midfield. I'm going to do at right back. Personally, I think it should be TT and Ainsley. You lot are the right backs. Chambers, you're a squad player. We will revisit your situation in January. Cedric shouldn't be here, but he's on a 4-year deal, so it's clearly going to be difficult, man. So I'm not really sure, man. I'm not really sure. He should end up starting. And I hope he does. But I just can't say for what you said. I just can't include him because I don't think at this moment in time he was brought in to be a starter. Now, hindsight, things happen. Cool, you're doing your thing. Much like Martinelli, he wasn't even meant to be in Arsenal's first team. He worked very hard in preseason, impressed Emery, and the rest is history. But at the moment they were bought, at the time of bought, Ben White and Odegaard, for me, off the top of my head, are the only 2 I really look at. Then obviously you've got TT, potentially Ramsdale, but even the talk around him, it was your number 2. You're right, though, Lokonga will end up starting, but then we're going to get to a point where I think it should be Partey and Lokonga, but it doesn't offer us enough in the middle of the park. So, and his love interest with XHAKA, it's going to cripple that. So it's one of them ones, really. It's an interesting way to look at things, man. Technically speaking, it was a good transfer window. In terms of the areas required and addressed, fair play, man. EG, we built the core. All that's missing is the improvement signings. I don't know if you've built a core. You've got the parts. You went to IKEA. You've bought the parts. You need to take it out the box now. Put the screws to the side. Look at the instructions. That's where you're at with these individuals. You've bought the parts. You have to build it. So again, that's the problem Arsenal make. Buying players doesn't mean you've addressed the core. It's now, like I said, you need to show me what Ramsdale's on. You need to give him a defense to work and gel with and communicate with. Lokonga, find a good partner for him. Ben White, the same logic. Odegaard, what's going on in the middle of our park? What's going on in the final third? Without even talking about Odegaard. So how can he thrive? How are you going to refix that? You've got the parts. It's about connecting them together now. So I wouldn't say we've built a core. The core is still missing. The parts are there. The dream is sold separately, sort of thing, and I agree with you, though, that we need to make 1 or 2 other signings. I would say it's a 5 because, again, any standard club should. I don't think I praise other clubs for getting rid of Willian and things like that. You've just rewritten your wrongs. So for me, it's a 5 still, but fair play. Juvie, boy, anything to get the like button, people, in a respectful way. If you don't want your baby mums to leave you or your baby daddies, for some of the galley out there, is what it is. If your baby dad leaves you, though, I'm here. Come on. I like to speak about football, but we can speak about some other things. Come on. I'm disgusted with Mikel Arteta. EG, if we won our first 3 games, do you think there would be people questioning the signings, even though I personally would still question the signings? No, not really. I think there'd be less like it is. You know, fans didn't want to hear Emre was moving dodgy when we was consistently having second half subs. All they were happy with is to say we've won games. This is a lot of people here that want to listen and talk about the defense now. When I was saying this a few months ago, you lot were telling me Maria's levels to be first choice. You lot were telling me we don't need to improve defense because we were third for clean sheets. You lot were some people were feeding me a bag of nonsense. So people like to bury their heads in the sand. I think a lot of fans, a lot of things they demand from the club, they're not too dissimilar and they're quite hypocritical. And I'm no different. It's the system, man. I'm telling you, we can't get the best out of these players with this manager. I mean, the system's crippling a lot of man. Love for the super chat. To spend 150 bricks like Arsenal did, one word comes to mind: corruption. Not sure that's the right word that should come to mind, but fair play, you know, fair play. Love for the super chat. I don't think Arsenal's first team has dramatically improved. I don't think it's fractionally improved, you know. That recruitment's one thing, but from a tactical point of view. This reminds me of the Michelin type of window without Michelin running things, if that makes sense, DG, with the scope to grow. But even then, I don't agree with it, but they brought in, I could be wrong, Lickstein or Socrates. The players were shit, but there was an understanding that you need to bring in some experienced ones. Now you get what you pay for, and that probably would have been the same thing. But they married them with that. Now, okay, cool. It's young bosses. Arteta's young. You know, the team should reflect you. You've got young guys who should be hungry to establish themselves in world football, like the manager. Do what you can. Like I said, I want us to learn some good habits. You know, because I don't really like how he bets on XHAKA, he's bet on Bellerin, he's bet on Leno. These guys have outlasted other managers, and it just feels like he's bet on the experienced players at the cost of young ones when they've got no allegiances. At least if you play Balogun, you play Saliba, you play these young players, they think he was the first guy to give me a chance. They're free, in my opinion. They're free from the corruption and the bad habits that certain other individuals have. Fair play, though, man. I don't know, man. All good prospects. None of them are world class. We need to address the fact that we have defenders who cannot defend, and Ben White does not fix that. The fact we have defenders who can't clear a ball with their head is appalling. And I mean, there's bad habits, you know. You saw the bad habits against Brentford, Chelsea, and City, you know, not clearing the ball correctly, being out jumped by people half their height, you know, talking experience, all of these sort of things. It's not really there, is it? Come on, my guy. I'd rather let Ramsdale ahead of Leno, but just because, you know, if he's going to be a long-term guy, I might as well just blood them in now, innit? What's the point waiting? It was good, but not great. And to be fair, everyone wants everything fixed in this window. To spend 150 million to plug holes proves we need more. 6 out of 10. I'm going with a 5, but I agree with you. I told fans you're not going to get, and I think everyone logically could understand, you're not going to get everything done in terms of ingoings and outgoings, but significant. I might not have agreed with some of the players that were brought in. Arteta showed me something because they're the guys. You know, at the end of the day, people can say what they want about Ramsdale. If you show levels, all that talk about why did we buy Ramsdale? 2 relegations is gone. All the chattings about Ben White, all of these guys are gone. As long as you've got a plan, the noise doesn't mean anything. How many times have we been here? You know, Mo Salah is probably not the best example because none of them are quality. But I'm sure a bag of Liverpool fans, when they brought Mo Salah, had things to say. Oh, Chelsea flopped this and that. Why are they signing Mane? He plays for Southampton. The club had a plan. The gaffer had a plan. The gaffer knew where he could see them in the short, medium, and long term. The rest is history. So again, if it's of the same thinking and we do things like that, let's see what's going on, man. And crucially for me, it further confirms that this is our squad. I'm actually still surprised at how many Gooners still buy into the third best defense. Bro, they buy into it, man. They say, bro, they're the same Arsenal fans that were willing to just lie to themselves and act like everything's rosy because we were the best team at a point in 2021. Like, since December, the league doesn't start then. Yeah, you can take positives, but the league don't start then. Why are you fucking telling me this? Like, it doesn't help anybody. It don't make sense. We wasted money on Ramsdale. His value would have gone if he had been relegated a third time in a row. We needed that marquee signing. Maddison was the one missed opportunity. I personally disagree. I agree with that marquee signing would do a lot, but I just think we needed to make competent signings. You're at that point, you need to go back to basics. Like the foundations aren't strong enough. You know, all the marquee signings, that's all, you know, flat screen TVs and jacuzzis in your house. We need to make sure the painting job is good. The foundations are strong. There's no asbestos in here. The heating and the plumbing work. That's why I don't mind these non-name brand signings. We just need basic competencies, players that are consistent and players that have confidence. And for me, I think of confidence when things go wrong. There's not a single reason for anyone to be confident as a fan base looking at Arsenal. There's pressure on the manager. The environment is going to get toxic if this carries on. The players should be feeling a bit of it. But this is where confidence comes in. Can you stand up where the world is on you? The world is turning on you. Can you lot get a siege mentality? These are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for nasty bastards. And I don't know if the gaffer's going to do that. Can we stop writing off Ben White? Man played one match and has yet to feature again alongside Gabriel, who is his planned partner. I don't know. I'm not right. I can only speak for myself. I haven't written off Ben White. I believe in him and I believe in Gabriel, but I feel that's the same trail of thought where people say, oh, wait till we have our full strength team, where half of these guys are involved and we do the same nonsense results. And that's nothing against the new players. I'm scared for the new players. I don't want them. I genuinely think if this carries on, you're gonna see. Yeah, they're all happy to sign it, but I think they're gonna look bewildered. I think they're gonna be hung out to dry because I think their teammates, you know, some of their teammates have been together for years and they don't fight for each other, so they're gonna fight for you lot. And I just think, sadly, you already see it indirectly with Tavares, more so with Lokonga. Like with the Smith Rowes and Sakas, we're looking at you, man. Then we're looking at the experienced guys, and it's not fair, really. We can't expect these guys to do a madness for the club. It's just not going to happen. Bringing back Saliba to the first team would have been better than signing White. I think Arteta's got the players. Now it's up to Arteta's philosophy and maturity. Do you know the fee for Bellerin? I don't know the loan fee, but he's gone on loan, innit? There's an option allegedly, but it's not an obligation. So if it looks shaky for him, he's coming back for a season, well, at least for the summer next year. I still think Marie is good enough, but he had a shaky start to the season. When you say good enough, I don't think Marie is good enough to be anything other than third, fourth choice at best. He can be part of the squad. Games where, you know, you're going to have a bit more of the ball and you're a bit more of a favourite, can do your thing. I just think there was a lot of propaganda with Marie. Literally, there was a point the man played 2-3 games. They're saying he's better than Gabriel. He's this, that, and the other. It's a myth. He's not. And I'm not saying Gabriel's amazing. He's just not. Like, Marie looked shaky. He reads the game okay at times. He's a liability. And Arteta hasn't shown a willingness to protect his players. You know your player lacks pace. You're going with some hybrid 3-4 at the back. I don't know what it is. You know he's going to get pulled into wide areas to defend. You know he lacks pace. Do I need to go on about how criminal that is and how, you know, where that script is going to take you? You lot are smart enough. If you wasn't, you wouldn't be here. You lot know the conclusion to that one. Yo, DG, just passing through, but vexed that only 400 likes, 800 plus people watching. People them don't hit the press button. Don't hit the like button. You're going to get girl with rotten teeth and bad breath. And rotten something else for them. So hit the like button and them things there. One love for that nonetheless, man. What's going on here? Sorry, folks. I messed up my timestamp. Let's see how the team plays when our players are all fit. I mean, that's not good enough for me, my guy. I can't lie to you because I mean I've seen Arsenal go on a run. I want to see a real DNA. I should see a system, regardless of who's there. You know, I know other teams have it better than us, but there should be a system. We should see what Arsenal's DNA is about, regardless of who's fit, whether it's XHAKA, Partey, Lokonga, whatever. And again, for me, I've seen these players play and we've been shaky. I'm not getting at any of the individual players. They all need to pull their fingers out and move together collectively. The club needs to. There's a lot that needs to be done. And I mean, if you lot feel that, wait till we get everybody fit. How even that, how long is everyone going to be fit for? It's a fallacy. How long, you know, even as an Arsenal fan, you should be healthily pessimistic with that. That's why we need a squad. We have injuries. One guy comes back, two guys get injured, two guys come back, three man come back. You know, how many times have we had a full squad? So I can't console myself with these things because I think if you're going to win something or do something, you need to take calculated risk. You expect the best, you hope for the best, but you think about the worst case scenarios. if the worst happens to us in midfield, we're down to our bare bones. I hope Odegaard's being groomed to play number 8 as well. So let's see what that one there is saying, man. I miss the days when Arsenal had a good midfield. That is our DNA, and it's gone. Would you prefer Arteta goes with Ramsdale in goal, considering the rumor that Leno isn't sure? Just because it shows me long-termism. That's why. I don't think you're going to see it anytime soon. One love for the super chat. Wish you had something to follow with it, but you don't, man. Andy Burton, Spurs fan here of 30 years here, but credit to this young man for not ranting and seeking attention through mindless shouting. Well done for wanting to take a sensible approach to issues. I love for that, my guy. Can only be myself, man. You know, appreciate that. Only with the right mentality can a system be implemented. And that's the mentality with the players, the manager. There's a lot of things that the manager has to arrest that I feel goes beyond players. I can't ask myself, we're maximizing things. If we was maximizing things, we'd be higher up the table. I'm not saying we'd win leagues, but we missed out on top 4 last year. People are better than us. But how many stupid points did we lose? How many stupid points have we dropped? When you don't turn up against Brentford, you don't even try against Chelsea, you don't try against City, what do you expect? And then we're going to drop even more points. We defeat ourselves way before we talk about how good an opposition is, way before we sit here and talk about what they have. We've got to remember it's a 38-game calendar. It doesn't matter who's got who. If we overperformed and we arrested every variable, we would do a lot better. But ifs and buts are not facts. Facts are we are at where we're at. We need to accept this position and find a way to move forward, in my humble opinion. But what do I know? I'm just a football fan. Hit the like button if you haven't done such already, folks. To be honest, getting Saliba out on loan, I'm not disagreeing with it. You know, a lot of people that are crying for Saliba and crying for Balogun, when they play and struggle, they're the first to turn on them. This is how football works. But at the same time, for me, it's the lack of clarity over Saliba. It's just you messed around with him. So I'm like, do you really feel him as a footballer? I feel it's disingenuous to say we had a bad window. I don't know where, but I never said once we had a bad window, because while we may not be leaps and bounds better right now, you cannot say you aren't excited for the future. I didn't say we've had a bad window. I didn't. I gave it a 5. If anything, it's underwhelming, but I've recognized we've done good things. I wouldn't say I'm excited for the future. I'm keen to see. You know, I like the potential Lokonga has. I like what Ben White could do. I like what, you know, Odegaard could become. But I can't, for me to be excited, there has to be a lot of variables away from the players. I wouldn't say excited. Potential is just potential. You know, when you marry in Smith Rowe and all of them guys, of course, but potential is just potential, bro. I'll be more excited when I see, you know, for me, I said it at the start of the window. Without all of the signings, for me, the biggest transfer we could have done is a transfer of mentality, a change of mentality. However that's done, you know, that's the main thing for me, really and truly. The mentality, because again, there's no point being good on the Sunday if you're going to bottle it on Tuesday, or, you know, getting the occasional big win and then effing it up. I don't know for that. I don't know for that. Like, for me, it's all about the mentality. When I see the mentality change, I'll have a lot more belief. And that goes for everyone connected to this club, young and old. The way you react. Until I see a game where that other team has taken them 3 points over our dead body, I will change my mind. Too many times we sit here and we speak about the capitulations, the inconsistent tactics, wondering have we prepared for the game before? You know, when I see the mentality change, then I'll have a lot more optimism. Before that, we'll keep signing new players, we'll keep getting new gaffers and whatever. And as long and to be honest with you, I'm going away from the technical and tactical front. As long as Stan Kroenke owns this football club, I can't really have that, man. Mentality seems to be too much of a luxury at our club, DG. I'm not going to lie, it does, because it seems like, I'm not going to say a lot of these players haven't had adversity, because they have, but it seems like once you get to Arsenal, you're rewarded for failure, rewarded for mediocrity. If 3 losses in a row hasn't shocked these players to change mentality, what will? I mean, bro, we've been here. It's not going to change, because a lot of these players and the gaffer, they were there doing it last season. I'm not going to lie. I don't get this sense of ruthlessness from Arteta. I don't get the vibe that it's you or me, because for me, I'm no manager. But if I put myself in his shoes, I might still do some of the decisions he makes. I might like some of the players he makes, but I would have, and he must do, I would have the sense of it's me or them. And I don't get that. Or you don't start Kolasinac against City, not to make, because he weren't the worst player. You don't persist with XHAKA. XHAKA weren't the worst player up until that red card, and I still don't think he was the worst player. But you're betting on these players, and they do things like that, you know. These are the things. It's you or me. Anyone messing around, I need to move serious, because I'm going to lose my jobs, you know. Half of these players are literally contracted longer than him. So the real ruthlessness, I don't get it. You know, you never know. You start winning a couple games, things change, but I don't know for any of that, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Allegedly, VINAI has spoken out, and we might as well, I've got them up here. We might as well look at it quickly, people. As you lot can see here, Arsenal Chief Executive VINAI Venkatesham, forgive me for mispronunciation, calls for unity in message to club staff. Arsenal Chief Executive VINAI has called on the club to stick together ahead of a crucial run of matches this month. Okay. In a message sent to all Arsenal staff last night after the transfer window shut, VINAI told employees to stay positive and said he was confident we can and will come out fighting. Fair play. As you know, Arsenal have taken our spending beyond the £140 million mark, obviously, with the £16 million acquisition of TT from Bologna. The club record spend for a single transfer window is a show of faith in manager Arteta. So he's been backed. So I can't really have any excuses. As we know, I'm going to try and save this. I'm going to try and do this without crying. But Arsenal are bottom of the Premier League after 3 defeats in their first 3 games and have made their worst start to a season in 67 years. Mad thing. But anyways, VINAI said, of course, I write this update against the backdrop of a hugely disappointing start to the season. I know how tough this is for all of you, both as supporters and employees, with the criticism coming from all angles. At times like this, it is crucial we stick together and stay positive. We have a very important run of games coming up after the international break, and I'm confident we will come out of it fighting. Okay. Apparently, fans have questioned the project at Arsenal, but VINAI has explained the club's strategy of signing promising players in their early 20s. And I don't think any Arsenal fan has a problem with that. We don't have a problem with the young players that come through this academy or abroad, because if anything, they give us more hope. We just think even at worst, you're not equipping them with the best things. Have they got the best mentality from the owner, so that when they do become good players, they become part of a winning system? Because that's a fear you have. These young players that do hit potential, how long before, Saka loves it right now. How long before it penny drops like, yo, man could be playing champs and doing other things and whatnot? That's the worry you have, and that's a decision they're going to have to make. And for me, I look at the collective ambition from the club. I look at the inconsistent managerial stuff. I look at what's going on from a technical front. No one's got any problem with the young players. It's like, are they equipped? You're taking young, inexperienced swimmers to sea and dashing them in the water, and the currents are strong. They're going to drown. Sometimes they're going to be courageous. Sometimes it's not. Yeah, man. He said, with no European football for the first time in many years, this is well below the standard each of us all have, and of course that our fans rightly demand of us, which is to be competing for the biggest trophies in the game. I think many Arsenal fans just want to see you compete with yourselves. You lot don't challenge yourselves. I want us to challenge rivals, challenge for trophies, but you lot don't challenge yourselves. I never get the vibe that anyone connected to this club wants to be better than they was yesterday. Of course, there's a few individuals, but I don't know, people. Whilst we would love to jump from where we are to where we want to be in an instant, we need to be realistic that the gap is too large to do that. As such, our activity this window has been focused on youth. Again, it's about active steps. I think nobody expects an instant turnaround. Our strategy is to fill our squad with some of Europe's most exciting young talent, with players from both our academy and further afield that can grow and develop together under Mikel to take us where we want to go. No fan has a problem with that. I'm on that. Who doesn't want that? We all want that. That's not our problem. Whilst this will not be overnight, we can make positive progress and give us the best possible route to future success in a sustainable way. So that's what he said. But I don't buy it. Like, I have no problem with a lot of that. We want our young players. We want that. But it's what you're surrounding them with. It's how you're improving them. It's who's in charge of improving them. I don't know, man. We do have to stick together, though, man. Somebody said check out somebody's Twitter. I mean, let me see if there's something there. Let me go on. What did you say? Let's see what's going on here. Fuck's sake. I don't want to be the guy, man. Let me just show you. I don't even know what to say. I'm tired of this, man. When it comes back to January, when it goes to January, I'll listen to all of this, man. But I'm told there remains long-lasting interest in Brighton's Bissouma from several clubs, including Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Bissouma, who has 2 years left on his deal, is happy on the South Coast, but one that could be revisited in January. Obviously, with 2 years left, I mean, he'll probably run it out until next year, and then he'll leave a year from now. But we'll deal with that in Jan. I would love it, but again, I more want the hour sort of figure. Like, you've got Lokonga, you've got Partey. Listen, Bissouma's a bad boy, we'll take him, but you need to bring Bissouma and the next guy, if anything. But I'm just leaving that one there, man. Just leave that one there, dead in the ground, man. You know, there's nothing we can talk about Bissouma as much as we want, but he can't help us anyway from now till January. So need to forget Donny, man. Have to forget about Donny. He's irrelevant at least until January. Big boy player, big game player, all of that stuff, but he's irrelevant, man. Defo cap, considering he'll be balling out in AFCON in January. Did Marley qualify? I could be wrong. Young players are calm, but need more experienced winners around them. Don't even need to be winners, bro. With respect, would you say Dan Burn and Dunk are winners at Brighton for Ben White? Them man, they're just serious with what they're trying to do in this thing. We just need man that when you look at guys are looking like strikers, centre backs, goalies. People are looking the part as well as talking it. But you're right. You know, you look at when Cess came on the scene. What did Cess have to deal with? You know, then how much was Cess able to help someone like Jack Wilshere? What did Jack Wilshere see when he come on the scene? Saka's coming in. He's seeing the nonsense. Smith Rowe, he's seeing the nonsense. Lokonga, these guys behind me, they're seeing nonsense. No one's got any problem with the young player angle. No, we want that. That's what we were told with the club. You know, we were vexed that you weren't doing that because you're telling us that. Then you're buying, you know, players that are duds. You know, like Cedric and Willian. We'd rather you go for a Tavares because at least if that goes wrong, you can sell my man or there's longevity. We want that. So I don't know where people are going with that. But yeah, man, it is where it is. What Prem team banks on young players? True, to be fair. Him saying these next few games are important means to me if we don't get the results, there'll be changes. I don't know about any of that. I don't know with the club, man. I don't know. I don't know what our true goals were with the season because I don't think it was European football, if I'm completely honest. I don't know who David is, but one love to David. I don't understand Arteta and the board's whole positive vibes thing right now. I mean, I like being positive, but I like being proactive. I don't just like saying things for the sake of saying things. You know, you can't just be positive for the sake of it. You need to take active steps. You know, it's like how many I've got friends that will put up all the motivational comments in the world on social medias, but and not to dig anybody out, pause. I know that some of the most laziest. They will type things like rise and grind and then get back on their PS4 all day. But there's some people that back their chat. So the positive affirmations and the motivational statements, they have to go hand in hand with the work. If that's the case, I don't know. Brilliant window. These guys will come good. 150 well spent. No point buying just one Rolls Royce. We're not there yet. I don't think anyone's asking for Rolls Royces, bro. BG, what are your thoughts on our not drawing interest from any club this window, let alone Arsenal? There must be something that's changed because he seemed to be hot property. I think a lot of the clubs that he was linked with a year ago, with the exception of Arsenal and Spurs, they seem that like they're trying to shift on midfielders. And I mean, Al was good, but at this moment in time, he didn't look like the guy to be doing that for. Like you see with Real Madrid, there's a Camavinga there. To be fair, they did try and get Al allegedly. So I don't really know, but it is disappointing that we could have probably got him, but ain't been done, man. Over 900 man in the chat and less than 300 likes. Pure pagans with dead gal in the comments. Hey, man, if you know your girl's not butters, hit the like button. I know he sent some of you. Such a shame. In my opinion, we had a good window. Big up DG from South Africa. Again, it weren't the worst of windows. I just think we're not stronger to get top four or to get Europe. For me, the biggest thing, and I keep saying it, and I keep having to tell myself internally, keep doing that. It's the midfield, man. The midfield for me, that would have made me sit up and think, yo, we're moving serious, with the exception of Lokonga. And like Nick has said, man, that midfield is weak, DG. I'm genuinely worried for Arsenal this season. I mean, if man are fit, we can do a thing, but all it takes is a XHAKA suspension like now, Partey being injured, and even just by Partey being fit, it scares me because sometimes he's come back fit and then he's got injured again in the game. So there's clearly something we're doing in his rehab and rushing man back. Suddenly, he suffers a setback. Something happens with XHAKA. You're looking at Lokonga and El Nene. Now you're hoping Lokonga can step up. You know, Maitland might even get a chance. Who knows? There might be other things. I really thought we was going to sign a centre mid because we loaned out Aziz. You would have thought that would have been a body, if anything. El Nene can still leave. You know, there was rumblings around Ainsley Maitland-Niles. A blind man could see you need to upgrade on the midfield, even with XHAKA. I really thought there would have been a midfielder arriving, you know. But it isn't. It is what it is, man. BISSOUMA and Aouar together has to be. I think it's gone. Did you see XHAKA's comments? He's hilarious. What has Granit XHAKA said? He's XHAKA, man. Are you talking about his red card? I mean, if you're talking about his red card, hopefully you are. Let me see what he said. After a full start, you get criticized. That's normal and part of it. Every player has to accept that. How is it a false start? We did nonsense. To be fair, use at the Euros. We did nonsense in pre-season. So we did nonsense when the season started. There's no false start. We can't say just because we got the win we wanted, the win we never got a win and we got results we didn't want. It's a false start. We can't, in the same way, when we win, we can't say our season starts. We need to just accept what's happened. The VAR, the red card, all of these things are talking points and went against us. You know, Chambers is punched in his face. XHAKA, it's not a red card. But away from that, bro, we didn't do nothing. We didn't, you know, did we do enough to get something out of the game? And that's one thing that pees me off as an Arsenal fan, really. You know, the VAR goes against us, and I've got enough to criticize refs and VAR to go a whole hour in itself of content. But for me, you play to the whistle, and these variables are 1 or 2 minute, 3 minute top flashpoints in the game. It's just like when we lost to Wolves away from home with the David Luiz sending off. Yeah, it played a part, but it was dead because you was on top for about 10, 20 minutes. You didn't take advantage. After the red card, brutally surprising in connection with the Premier League, people often talk about English toughness. I hit the ball 100% and got a red. I don't think it's a red card. What I think you could have done is, and I think Cancelo's been a bit of a pussyo and he's done the dark arts thing, dark arts, and he's exaggerated it. But I think obviously you got to be a bit logical. You have gone in a bit of a calam where you take that risk and you know you can't afford to take that risk. You know, I do think your reputation goes against you for things like that. I do think there's an Arsenal bias. I don't think it's a red card. But do I think the red card had any bearing on us losing the game? Yeah, indirectly, but we still would have got smoked. We was looking shaky with 11 men. To be fair, we were still half in it with 11 men, if you could say that. But yeah, he said, I don't want to judge. I'm not going to let it drive me crazy. I can't do anything, undo anything anyways. All I can do is look ahead, sorry. The pictures apparently were not checked by VAR. And I mean, he's right. He has seen tougher tackles. I mean, is there a way to appeal it? Because there's an inconsistency in the Prem. Again, I'm not trying to drop Pogba into it. I don't think Pogba is sinister. But Pogba's tackle on Ruben Neves is no better or worse than XHAKA. So what's going on? Sir Alex Ferguson needs to give us the direct debit account and we need to start doing the payments thing. But yeah, man, he said, I returned to the club from my holidays in excellent shape. The extension of the contract gave me another push. I consider myself lucky with it. Besides, I'm healthy, which is the most important thing in the end. Obviously, yeah, man, you got your life, you got your health. Big up XHAKA in that regards. But that's all he's had to say, assuming that was actually what you was talking about. XHAKA speaks on red card. Assuming that is what you was talking about. I don't actually know for true. Make sure you're hitting the like button and all those things, people. Like I said, I'm going live on Twitch shortly after this, so make sure you're all there as well. 2 feet off the ground, DG, really dangerous and could have ended someone's career. I have to disagree, fam. I don't think it's a red, but like I said, you know, he's done that. It's like I said, he's gone in a Kalam way, but he's given the ref a decision to make, and he shouldn't have done that. So this is why we're here. Fundamentally, whether it is or isn't, he's been sent off in it, and it puts us in trouble. I agree with your point about the squad having a base level, but go back and look at all the goals we conceded and What's the and bit, my guy? I think you're missing out a part of the message. So I don't know where we're going with that conversation. But DG, these players have no fight. I think without respect to Arteta, they think they don't care and can outlast him. I don't think they've got self-respect. You know, I'm past the point of the manager and the players. I look for a lot of these players and look, where's the self-respect now? Because you are waking up in the morning, playing your football match in front of millions, you know, thousands in the ground, millions on TV, and you're getting rubbed up. Where's your own self-pride now? This is it. We'll talk about that. You know, Arsenal fans will talk more about the red in a 5-0 loss than Chelsea fans will talk about a red in a 1-1. Of course, it factors the game, but it's like we might get a red card or VAR might sheg us from a goal or something, and then you know we might have only been at it for 70 minutes and pull for 20, but we just focus on the good things. It's like there's a lack of collective honesty, in my opinion. If we brought in a centre mid, I could have got behind this window. To be fair, Lokonga's there. Vinai can talk about a young, youthful team, and it takes time. But will these youngsters stick around for the full cycle to be completed? Boy, I don't know. Not one player we have signed excites me. At least they're all young and have time to develop on the plus side. That's harsh. I'm excited about Lokonga. I like Odegaard. You know, I'm happy to have a right back in TT. But I hear you though. They just have to be the right signings and then do your thing in it. You know, Mahrez, we was linked with him. He said that he spoke to his agent. No offers were placed. Arteta can only do better if he gets rid of XHAKA, Cedric, Holding, Kolasinac. These players are championship material. Well, he's betted on them. And he's betted on one of those names you said to be his key midfielder. So these are the foundations you want to set. This is it, isn't it? The players' mentalities isn't going to change, and they're soft with a few exceptions. Sambi said in a post-match interview that the club were too nice when giving away a goal on a corner. Facts. And that's it. You know, these lot are going to come in, they're going to be bewildered, and at some point you revert to type. You're going to pick up the bad habits. Like you look at the last 3 games from Kieran Tierney, he looks like he's lost the juice that he joined Arsenal from Celtic with. Let's give these new signings a chance. Too many people too quick to say these signings are dead food. I understand your base level, your base level of performance point, but the way we have conceded goals this season has been pure stability. We clearly need our first 11. We do need our first 11, but them first 11s have been out there and they've all done calacities. You know, Xhaka is part of the calacities. Partey's, you know, done calacities. Gabriel's done it. You know, sometimes it's the players we believe in, sometimes it's not. You know, against Chelsea in pre-season, what was it? Pep Bellerin, what was it? Watford or something? It was El Nene. Then it was Marie against Chelsea in the actual game. It was Chambers and Ben White against Brentford. You know, it was whoever against City. Chambers again, switching off. Cedric doing nonsense. Who's it going to be against Norwich? So my point being, I hear you. But sometimes that first 11 is there and they still do fuckery. So if you don't want to console yourself with wait till we get our strongest 11 and these sort of things, fair play. But I think it's deeper than that. Lokonga's playing ahead of Partey or Partey's playing ahead of him. You know Xhaka's untouchable in that team, unfortunately. Why is no one talking about winning games of football? Sol Campbell made a statement that it's going to take 3 years. We need to win now. Sambi could be a special player. It would excite me if Lokonga gets the nod. Kid looks talented. Same with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Let's not give Arteta credit for Saka either. That was Emre's guy. The guy wants young players and plays Xhaka and El Nene. Boy, it's peak, innit? He's conceded 9 goals so far. The signings aren't dead, DG, but are we supposed to wait 4 years for these signings to potentially hit their prime or to start winning football games? Don't know. The players need to make a statement against Norwich, then we'll know if they're up for the fight. Me, I won't know if you're up for a fight, regardless if you beat Norwich or not. You just need to win. You know, show me that you can put together a consistent run of games. Show me that you're tired of conceding these cheap mistakes. Show me that you can have the mentality for the whole duration of the game. Why do you need to win now? That's such a privileged opinion. To be fair, I think he means that you need to be able to be competitive to get 3 points now, or Arsenal are going to keep going down. That's what I think. That's what I interpreted. School PT would have spent that money smartly. It's a shame, man. To be honest, my bro, the Premier League refs has a lot to do with our results. I don't agree. I mean, the refs are against us, but if you put the ball in the back of the net more time, then there's an issue. You know, can we? Anytime the ref has outdone us, yeah, it's made an issue. But have we done? Have we been at 100% in the game, like against City? Okay, cool. XHAKA doesn't get sent off. What's changing? The goal gets chalked off. The first goal gets chalked off because Chambers is rightly so punched. What's changing? What changes? 3-0 instead of 5. I hear that. I know the refs are against us, but it's not an excuse, man. That Wolves game was shambolic. We're not always going to have our first 11 fit, so it's the manager's job to manage these situations. Looking at Liverpool last season, they had a lot of key players and still saved theirs. Trust me, it didn't look like they were getting anything. Europa League players felt it pulled together and they did what they needed to do. Do you think our board will sack him if he loses our next 2 matches? I don't think so personally. I think they're going to say, pre-season, let's let him go. Let's let him see what, he's had his pre-season. He's had the windows closed. International breaks probably taking a bit of heat, so they'll probably just let him run that one until the end, really. 586 likes. We're flirting with 600. If you haven't hit the like button, hit that, people. You're right, DG. The starting 11 still have plenty of mistakes in them. I see a real lack of experience and leadership in this team. That concerns me. I want to see fight from our players. You and me both, man. I did read what Williams' agent said and spoke about in the last live stream, or the one before that. DG Perlo was in London yesterday and his IG said London's calling. People are saying he's talking to Arsenal. Can we really be serious? I don't know. Maybe he's just here to enjoy. Well, definitely not the weather. I was about to say weather. Maybe he's just here to enjoy something, man. Funny, your name is Deluded and you are one of the most truthful, composed Arsenal fans I've ever seen. Hey, there's a lot of us, man. Don't let the ones that go viral fool you. There's a lot of things like that. I'm no different, but I appreciate that. For every comment like that, you get, oh, you really are deluded. I just wish I had £1 for each time it was said. I'd buy the Emirates myself. I'd buy the club myself, and we wouldn't have to even be doing this live stream, but I can't. How long are you giving it, Arteta? I'm not giving you no more time. I don't blame you for everything. I ain't got pitchforks out for Arteta, but you're not doing the business. If it changed around, fair play, but you should be sacked because people have been sacked for less. And considering you had November, I don't really have any confidence in you. There are a lot of luxuries and excuses I quote unquote give you, but I don't really believe in that. You're on borrowed time already. There's no time for me, As I think the club should have a backup plan, should be speaking to whoever's available or whoever they think's available. He's on borrowed time. I personally believe that. I don't give Arteta no more time. And with every loss, and again, I hope he turns it around because I'd rather him turn it around than have to do the new manager thing. But if he doesn't turn it around, then you already know what needs to happen. And the problem is, it's going to become of when are they going to pull the trigger? I don't think they're going to pull the trigger when you, me, or anyone expects that, personally. But Arteta does not need any more time. You have to earn the right for time. You need to earn time. If there was a system, if you quickly implement a system and we see, I know what you're doing with, I see what you're doing with Ramsdale, Ben White, and all these guys, you'll get a bit of time because that gives fans patience. When you're seeing bewildering things from all levels of the club, from the players to the owners, when you're hearing the statements not match up, when you're seeing the consistent nonsense, when you're seeing the arrogance displayed by people, you don't have time for such. So you earn time. Right now, he's on borrowed time. Any day, if the mentality was different, any day could have been his last. But he's not going to get sacked anytime soon. To be fair to you, it's only been 3 games for Spurs. We can't get, Nuno's going to go through a rough patch as well. They were saying the same under Jose at a time. But it does look a bit shaky when you do see Nuno, them players there looking a bit motivated and whatnot. But you said, how does he need more time when Nuno goes to the Spuds and you can at least see how he wants them to play? Mikel Arteta has been here for 2 years, and I have no idea what we are trying to play. Mad thing. Congratulations to Spurs for winning the league after 3 games. If they bottle it, our season is complete. We're past the point of looking at Spurs, bro, in my opinion. Just want to know what my thing's about. Players need to show more fight. I have a feeling that the players don't like the gaffer on a personal level. More looks like they're playing to get Arteta sacked. I don't think any players currently playing to get him sacked at this moment in time, if I'm honest with you. And I still think he retains them, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're starting to become a bit bewildered with what he's doing. DG, what time are you streaming on Twitch? I think, if I'm correct, it should be 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Little quick hour, half an hour break, and then we go again. Obviously, people, at 4:30 we'll do a little bit of FM content. And I can't lie, I'm trying to get into the gym, man. Do we don't have the players or the system? I think the players are there, bro. I have to say it's the system, because you've been giving your players. Love for the super chat, my guy. Big up yourself, Julian. I wish you had something else to say, but love for that regardless. Shouldn't say 2 p.m. It should say 3. But nonetheless, man, that's a typo. But yeah, 3 p.m. people. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Well, so we saying here. Yeah, I'm definitely going gym, man. G the PT. I might need you, man. I need to get a bit more leaner. But yeah, predictions against Norwich. I'll say 2-1 Arsenal win, man. Maybe the international break gives us a headspace and we can go again. But I don't truthfully know, man. I don't truthfully know. Love for that Tarnan. And I see what you said about the Tottenham game. I'm not going to the Tottenham game. I just see them now. 100, that was a red in this day and age, but we would have lost anyways. Maybe because I think football tackling is going out of the game. But for me, you don't do that. There's not an issue there. And it was a high beat, as somebody said. Has to be the system when you as Arsenal fans are questioning how their manager sets his team up. And I can't lie, like someone said, he's been here for too many years now. Well, he's been here for too long, not too many years. For me to have that question mark over what are we trying to do, I should see the framework and then be able to say, all right, cool, give him a this, give him a that. And the wickedest thing, when he first came in, I thought you genuinely saw that. Like, defensively, you could see the defense. You could see, maybe it was just a new manager, but I genuinely think that first period he came in, you could see little things. And even towards into his first full season, you could see little things defensively that he's clearly worked on. He's clearly told them why they can't. And then you see the players fuck it up. There was a time where you could see that. Now I still think that's the case. But then the manager is starting to play certain individuals, and he hasn't arrested certain things. And he hasn't evolved on certain things. It's the strangest thing. Last season, we were strong defensively, couldn't attack. Now defending has gone out the window. But I disagree with you slightly, Mando. I mean, I can't argue statistics. We were third for clean sheets. But I think that was a false image. We've never been good defensively. But again, I can't argue with things. You know what it is? I love being at the Emirates. I can't tell anyone what to do with their money. But for me, I don't think the club deserve my hard-earned money. I work bloody hard for my money. And I'm not rich, so I don't want to. And Emirates, I see it as my safe haven. I look forward to going there. You know, if somebody said Norwich is at the end of the week or Spurs next week, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. Like, I can't explain it, but watching the games with you lot is hard enough. But when you're at the games and the L's happened and stuff in the manner that we normally do it, I can't explain it. I'll just sit there. Everyone's going home. I'll just sit there until you actually have to come out the stadium. I'm just staring. You're just bewildered, and I don't want to be there again, man. So what's the point, man? If Arteta can't get 10 points in the next 4 games in the situation we are in, then he isn't qualified to be manager anywhere, let alone Arsenal, bro. Yeah, it is down to the gaffer. The players aren't good enough. His communication might not be good enough. The way he's conveying his tactics, certain players are not, the communications like you and I, how I get you to learn something might be completely different to me. Certain people you can just tell them and they'll get it. Certain people you got to show them. Certain players you can show them once. Certain players you got to show 100 times. It's like being in the school ground. I know obviously they're men and no one's trying to get anyone in trouble, but there's certain players that might feel a certain sort of way if you're kind of correcting them in front of everyone. There might be a man you got to pull to the side and chat to him. Man management, as somebody said, is way more important, I feel, than tactics. Because you can have the tactics. If the players don't want to run through a brick wall from you, they don't have that confidence, then it's dead, really. So yeah, man, it is what it is, man. But on that note, I'm going to leave you lot though, man. It's been fantastic, but I want to squeeze in a young gym session before 3 p.m. people. It's going to be a tight one, but I want to go and do that. So I'm going to have to love and leave you. I'll be back again at 11:30 a.m. Obviously, head over to Twitch, 3 p.m. I'll cover any Arsenal things you've got for me and whatnot and anything that comes out. But we'll be speaking about football from a mutual point of view. Obviously there's other transfers that have happened and whatnot. Then after that, 4:30, play a bit of FM and then it's done for today, really. So yeah, make sure you're following me on Twitch, Deluded Gooner on that. If you're subscribed and following on both, you don't miss a beat, people. Hit the like button if you haven't. And yeah, man. The man said, see you on Twitch. Take your anger out on the weights. To be fair, I don't want to do the treadmill today. So yeah, it is a weight thing. It's chest and shoulders still. So yeah, I will, man. I'll see you lot in a piece.
Always just that active red light defending. I think it's like